Sometimes God doesn't just take things from you. He takes people. People you laughed with, people you cried with, people you thought would never leave. And one day, without warning, they start to drift away. Conversations fade, energy shifts. The bond that once felt unbreakable becomes heavy, forced, distant. And you ask yourself, what did I do wrong? But maybe nothing. Maybe it's not rejection. It's redirection. Maybe those people were never meant to walk with you through every chapter. The same God who joined your paths knows when it's time to separate them. Because sometimes the very connections you pray to keep are the ones quietly holding you back from who you're meant to become. It hurts. The silence, the distance, the loneliness. But the truth is, God hears conversations you didn't. He sees intentions you missed. He feels energies your soul outgrew. And so, out of mercy, not malice, He begins to remove what no longer aligns with your growth. You see, not everyone is meant to love you forever. Some people are lessons, others are ladders, and once you've climbed, you don't need to carry the ladder with you. God disconnects you not to isolate you, but to prepare you for deeper love, truer peace, and a connection that no goodbye can end. When God disconnects you from someone, it rarely feels divine. It feels devastating. You replay memories like old films, searching for a scene that explains the ending. You overthink every word, every silence, every shift in energy. You tell yourself it shouldn't have happened this way. But deep down your soul whispers, it had to. Because the truth is, not all connections are meant to last. Some were sent to teach you how to love, others to teach you how to let go. God, in His mercy, doesn't always take people away out of anger. Sometimes He removes them because you've completed your purpose in each other's lives. To keep holding on after that would only bring pain. The Sufis say, when love becomes a veil between you and God, He tears it away. It's not because He wants you lonely, it's because He wants you whole. He knows after the disconnection, there comes a strange kind of silence, not just from them, but from life itself. The messages stop, the laughter fades, and what's left is quiet, heavy, empty. You sit in that stillness and wonder if God has gone silent too. But it's in that very silence that He begins to speak the loudest. You see, when noise disappears, truth begins to echo. The voices that once shaped your identity are gone, and for the first time, you begin to hear your own. You start noticing who you are without the validation, without the attention, without the presence of others. And maybe that's what God wanted you to see all along. The silence is not punishment, it's protection. Because sometimes the wrong voices drown out the one that matters most, His. When you stop chasing conversations that don't feed your soul, you finally start hearing divine whispers that were always there. The ones that tell you you are still enough. You are still loved. You are still mine. And in that stillness, you begin to understand silence was never empty. It was sacred. It was God sitting beside your wounds, waiting for you to stop reaching outward so you could finally look inward. Because when you lose the noise of others, you gain the music of His nearness. And that is the sound of your healing. It takes time to see it, but one day you will. You'll look back on the people who left and realize their departure was not destruction, it was direction. Every disconnection, every distance, every heartbreak, it all had a divine pattern. What felt like loss was actually protection. God saw what you couldn't. He heard conversations you weren't in. He knew the battles being fought behind smiles. And so He stepped in, not to take from you, but to save you. The Sufis say, every separation hides a mercy you cannot yet see. Because when God removes someone, He's not closing your heart. He's cleansing it. He's creating space for the kind of love that doesn't drain you, for friendships that lift you higher, for connections that lead you closer to Him. Think about it. How many times did you beg God to fix what He was trying to free you from? How many nights did you cry for the same people who were never meant to stay? We mistake familiarity for destiny, but sometimes the comfort we crave is the very cage we need to escape. And when you finally stop asking, "Why did they leave?" and start asking, "What is God making room for?" that's when peace begins to bloom. Because separation is never the end. It's an invisible act of love. He doesn't disconnect you to make you lonely. He disconnects you to make you ready for the people who will remind you of Him. And then one day, after all the silence, all the loss, all the nights you thought your heart would never feel whole again, something changes. You meet peace again, not in a person, not in a place, but in yourself. You realize that the disconnections weren't endings, they were beginnings in disguise. They weren't about losing people, they were about finding presence. Because when God disconnects you, He's not leaving you empty. He's creating space, sacred space, for alignment, purpose, and peace. He's rebuilding your circle with people who speak your soul's language, who remind you of Him without even mentioning His name. You begin to attract differently. You love differently. You no longer chase energy, you recognize it. And that's when you understand the beauty of divine timing. Everyone who left, everyone who stayed, everyone who entered, each was part of His orchestration. You stop resenting the goodbyes because you see how perfectly they led you home. So if you're in that place where God has disconnected you from people, don't fight it. Embrace it. Let it teach you what only solitude can. Because every divine disconnection is an invitation to reconnect, not with the world, but with the one who made it. And when you find Him, you'll realize you were never alone. You were simply being guided back to the love that never leaves.